Hello, welcome to my first vlog. I'm going to give you like a outline of my journey in poker so far. I've been playing poker since I was quite young. I'm 28 now. I probably knew how to play poker when I was about 3 years old, maybe a bit older. But my mom and dad both played super serious during the poker boom, made a lot of money playing poker. I didn't start taking it super serious until I was at university. So first year of uni, I was a big fish. Second year of uni, I was still a fish, but I was starting to make money at poker, and I ran the University of Birmingham Poker Society. And then third year, my girlfriend at the time didn't really like poker, so I didn't really play poker very much. And then after university, tried to get a real job. So I actually got a third in my degree, probably because I was playing poker too much. And so I couldn't really get a good graduate job because you need to get at least a 2-1 to get a good graduate job. So for me, it was more like get any job I could. And the first job I could get was at William Hill. So I started working at William Hill. Kept applying for other jobs because I wasn't really enjoying it. And I had a lot of ambition. I didn't just want to work for minimum wage. I just got a university degree. I know it wasn't a very good one, but I wanted to do something with it if I could. And so then I ended up working in a Wetherspoon's kitchen because I just wanted to do something different to William Hill. Hated that because I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, going to the NEC, preparing food, working for like 8 hours straight, cleaning food, and then I was just like still not really using my degree. And then eventually I got into like a recruitment workshop, which was like a little mini workshop to learn how to be in recruitment. And then that got me a few interviews, and I ended up working at a startup in London. In recruitment. So that was basically me calling people, seeing they were suitable for roles, and if I filled the role, I'd get some sort of commission. And so I was pretty excited to move to London. I was like, oh, that's where the money is, start at the bottom, grind my way up, got friends in London, blah, 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 blah. And, but pretty quickly it was obvious that like I wasn't earning enough money to live in London. The commission just was like gonna take a long time before it hits your bank account. To build up a pipeline of, commission, you need to probably be in the job for at least 3 months and know what you're doing. So like the first month is training, then you need to know what you're doing, then you need to actually be good at the job, and then you need to like get the commission, then you need the money to go through, and then you get paid the commission. So you're talking like minimum 6 months to get any kind of commission. And then even then it's like, you kind of needed it at the start really for the expenses I had relative to what I was earning. So, and I wasn't really seeing my friends anyway in London because like they were busy doing their own careers, and London's massive, which I didn't realize before I went. I knew it was big, but like so big that like if your friend lives in the north and you live in the south, like you're just never seeing each other. It's just ridiculous because it's just like you're both just knackered from working, and then so no one wants to go to the other person's neck of the woods because it's just so far away. So yeah, ended up taking another job in recruitment but in Birmingham so I could live at home, massively reduce my expenses, and I actually really enjoyed that job. Really good social atmosphere, made some good friends there, but I was still kind of like had this chip on my shoulder where I wanted to like use my degree and get like a good graduate job. Eventually I landed this job at a company called Newton Europe, and they're like an operations consultancy. So that was like pretty cool because I had to go through a lot of technical tests and like more like IQ style testings, which I'm reasonably good at. So I did well in the interview process, managed to get the job, and I was really excited because it was like a 40K package, and I was like, yeah, finally, like I can use my degree, I can grind up, and like maybe I'll get to like 100K in like 3-4 years time or whatever. And started off there. Before I started there, actually, I left my old job because as soon as I got that job, I was like, I couldn't take my recruitment job seriously anymore. I was like, I'm off. And I wasn't even starting it for like 4 months. And then I happened to just like spend those 4 months like playing poker, and just me and my brother were just playing like a bunch of tournaments at Dust Dawn, which is a casino in Nottingham. And I think between us in those 4 months, we won about £100,000 in profit from playing poker in tournaments between the two of us. And obviously we didn't have 100% of our own action because we'd sell pieces, etc. But it was still pretty cool. And then eventually, I think it was in January, I won a tournament, £300 tournament for like 27K. And then the news featured it, and that's when the Daily Mail article came out, because then they were like, oh, your brother plays, oh, your mum and dad play, oh, cool. So that was pretty cool. But I just remember just before that, like I was flat broke. Like my best friends were going away to like Thailand and Cambodia and traveling, and I'm just like, I'm broke. I live at home, but I've got this good job starting, so I'm pretty excited about it. So now I've got at least some money in the bank before I start this job, which I'd never had before because I was always in my overdrafts. And so I treated myself, and I went to Florida for I went because they were also traveling. They went to Disneyland, so I jumped on the end of that trip, and then started my job in operations consultancy. So I was still sort of playing poker on the side, but now it was just like my sole focus was this job. Like I wanted to have a good go at it. Like it was like a project-based job. So like you do like a month of training, and then my first project was up in like aircraft carriers in Recife. So my job was kind of like to sort of help them. Like if I can save them any time in building an aircraft carrier, then I'm saving them a lot of money, because I save 1 week of time. Like you gotta think their labor for a week is probably over £1 million. So if I save them 1 week of time, I've saved them £1 million. So, you know, my company could charge them like 300K for that, and they're still, you know, everybody's still happy with that situation. So that was the kind of role that I had, and it was semi-complicated, but at times, but not super complicated all the time once you were on a job. And but I was flying up to Scotland every week, staying in a hotel, and then flying back home. But I just had no time to myself really, because like you're away from home all week, and then I was like, oh yeah, finally I can like go and get a real job. I can go grind like £400 GKPTs and GPSs at the weekend, and like that'll be fun because I love poker, and I can just get this job, grind this job, play poker on the side. But then I was just tired all the time. Like I never wanted to go and play poker the weekend because I was always just knackered from working. And I was just like, is this really what I want? Because like it started off going, oh, it's a 40K job, but realistically it's like, it's a 10K sign-on bonus, which gets taxed at like 50% straight away. Yeah, you get a bit of that back, but that's still annoying. And then it's like a 25K salary with a 7K bonus, and then 5K for your car, but you got to pay tax on the car because it's a benefit in kind. And then you're like, all of a sudden you're picking up like £1,800 a month. And then like, you're picking up £1,800 a month, and then you take out your expenses, and you're like, oh, okay, great. Like maybe I've got like around £1,000 left. Like that's not life-changing money for the amount of work that I was doing each month. And like maybe I was spoiled because I could see how easy you could make money in poker. But that's when like I was just starting to go like, why am I doing this? Like, and if I did make 100K a year, how much money do I have at the end of that? Do I get like even if I double this and I get it to like 3.6K and I'm getting 3K a month, like, okay, maybe I'll have like 30 grand in the bank by the end of that year. But like, and then what do I do? Like that still doesn't change my life massively. Like, yeah, I'll be more comfortable, but like, it's still not, I don't know, just didn't really fill the void, the ambition that I had to just make more, I guess. And obviously I ran good doing that, but this is kind of what my drive, my thought process was at the time. So the job's going like pretty good, and I'm on my third project now. And at this point, it's fair to say that on my third project, I just completely clashed with my boss. You have a different boss on each project, and our team generally sat within a client's team. And I got on really well with my client team. I got really well with the people I was working with, but my boss from my company, this was never going to work. Like I remember at one point when he was swearing at me in the car on the way back because I'd misunderstood something he said, and I was just like, it's just over now, right? As soon as your boss starts swearing at you, like that whole professionalism's just gone, and it was just more of a, right, I'm done. I'm just going to wait till I get my bonus and I'm leaving. And luckily the week that I left, I already had a trip planned to World Series Europe with some friends, and that's where I first met people like Adam Owen and Harry Lodge, two really great people in poker. And then I ended up coming. It's funny because Harry Lodge is also tall and ginger, and it was just like both of us. Like first event, he comes like eighth in like eighth or ninth, I think, in like one of the €500 Oktoberfest, and then the next tournament, I came like one position higher in like the in the deep stack, which was pretty cool because I was chip leader like on day 3. I think Heinrich Hecklin busted me, who I've played some more poker with since as well. So, but that was a pretty nice score, just leaving my job and then just get like a 20K score. So that was pretty nice, like top of the bankroll. And then from there it was kind of try and figure out online poker. I knew if I wanted to make a consistent living at poker, then I'd have to play cash. Like I don't really think tournament variance was the right way to sustain a living. And for me, cash was tough. Like I was definitely more of a tournament player at the time. But realistically, what I'm saying looking back is I wasn't good enough at poker and tournaments were easier. But I switched to cash. So one of my first coaches was a guy called Ginge. And I grinded 100 Zoom from the start. So I just used the money I had to just start from 100 Zoom. I felt like that was the lowest level I wanted to play in order to try and make a living. And I always had the attitude of like, I'll play as high as I can. And if I lose, at least for the first few months, it doesn't matter as long as I'm learning. And I feel like I'm pretty astute at like figuring things out pretty fast. Like if I was losing at like 5 BBs at 100 Zoom from the start, like I'm pretty sure just on my own sort of like studying without any solvers or whatever, I could get that to like -2 to break even fairly quickly, which seemed to be the case. So I think I've had my first month was like breaking even, and then my second month I was like, oh, I got this now, like I can win. And then my next month I was like, right, I'm gonna make 10K this month. I set myself a goal and I wrote a blog. I wanted to make 7K in a month. Moved in with one of my friends in the Lake District. And I was like, right, I'm gonna make $300 a day. That's my goal for 30 days. I'm gonna make 9K, but I'm gonna set myself a goal of 7K. And that was back when you could get right back on stars as well. And just smashed it. I just hit like, I think I hit like 10K that month, which was pretty cool. Then went off to Vegas. I might be getting some of this timeline wrong, exactly which order this all happened in, but basically now I'm grinding cash online for a living. So some of the friends I mentioned previously, one of them had now moved to Thailand, and he was just living in a beach town in Phuket with his girlfriend, grinding poker, smaller stakes than I was, and just going to the gym, living with his girlfriend, and just like what seemed like the time of his life. Eventually he moved to Bangkok, and he's always invited me if I wanted to go and visit. I now got a little bit more money to my name, and I'm like, all right, I guess I'll go to Thailand and I'll check that out. So I went and stayed on his sofa in Thailand. It was like the smallest little box room. Should have been a studio, but it was a 1-bed, absolutely tiny. And we go down to Phuket and absolutely loved it. Like, fell in love with Thailand straight away. As soon as I went back home, I was like, when can I go back? And that's pretty much what I did. The next trip was like a 3-month trip where I went with another friend to play poker, just grinding 100 now. Like, because your expenses in Thailand are so small, like you could get like a really nice studio or really nice, I think the first apartment I got, I spent like £400 a month on, and then my bills were like £30. And then like, I'd spend a lot more money on food because I could afford to. Like if I really wanted to, I could probably spend £650 a month. And like as a poker player playing 100 Zoom, and I'm trying to make then I could probably quite comfortably make $2,000 a month. Obviously there's variance, but like, you know, like I was living very, very comfortably and not having to like push myself super, super hard to make money. So it was great for me. So eventually I ended up moving here. And that's when and then now I'm looking to try and like put my head down and make some money at poker. Now that I'm living in Thailand, now I've got like that structure. And not long after that is when I joined the D7 stable. So D7, if you don't know, is now one of the head coaches in the BitB Cash game group. So he started D7 Army and I was his very, very first student. And this was great for me because there was just some pretty clear things that I was doing wrong or didn't understand. But once I got someone that understood them to explain them to me, I felt like that just took my game to the next level. And I went from like grinding 100. So he let me play 200 straight away. And I had shot taken 200 before and I had a winning sample at it, but I just didn't play it as much because I was quite comfortable with my Thailand lifestyle, knowing that I can make like 3-4K at 100 now every month and covering my expenses. That like, as much as I'd want to shot take, like when you go into like a high stakes pool that you like roughly breaking even in and you're comfortable making a certain amount of money, like I just was less comfortable shot taking because the risk reward wasn't there for me. Because I was obviously going to have a low win rate anyway. But Donald basically was like, play 200 straight away and gave me some extra confidence. And it was kind of cool because obviously now I'm giving 50% of my winnings away that I was still going to be able to make as much money as I was at 100, even though I was giving 50% away because I was now playing twice the limits. Obviously it's harder, and it isn't quite like that, but pretty much that's how it worked from the start. And then I just went on a huge heater. And I think in my first 3 months playing 200, I made like 45K US, a little bit of 500 in there, a little bit of 400 in there, and Donald was like, whoa, here we go, and just starts taking on more and more students. I think both of us though got a little bit complacent because at this point it was like, because I remember having my month in January like going, Donald, I've made 12K this month, but I don't think I played that well, and I feel like I've ran really well. And he was like, oh, that's fantastic that you've recognized that. And at this point Donald has started to take on more students, and like, fair enough, like, without trying to sound too arrogant, him taking on me as his first student, he'd gone really well. Like he just told me a few things and everything had kind of clicked. But I think that he then thought that all his students were going to be as easy. And I don't mean to say that I was super easy, but I think that at least at the start I was. And that kind of took away from like, okay, Donald, like I need you now. And so then he took on some more coaches and started to become more of a stable. Which was cool because I kind of felt like that if I'd have carried on, I could have potentially been one of the coaches for the stable, and that would have been nice for me as well. But then I just got hit really hard with a downswing, and Donald himself had a few issues at the time as well, and some of the other coaches were quite busy, and I just kind of like tumbled a little bit. And like luckily for me, like the money I'd chopped out already was good. So my net worth at the time now is probably like, I don't know, I'm probably gonna say like £15,000, which obviously in Thailand is fantastic. Like I've got no overdrafts anymore. I'm chilling, but obviously not making money. That's gonna just like slowly deplete. And obviously if you don't make money one month, then you got to clear the makeup next month, and maybe it carries on for 3 months, and maybe it carries on for 4 months. But luckily with that money, the first chunk of money I made, I flew my mom and dad out to Thailand to see me. So that was pretty cool. Flew them out. They paid for their own Airbnb. I paid for their flights, and we had a few good. Got to show my mom and dad Thailand. So that was sick. That's one of the. So I was always like, if I do go broke in poker, at least I've got all these memories. And if I have to go back to recruitment or whatever I've got to do, I'm gonna have fun doing it. So that was kind of always my attitude all the way through. Then the two guys that I mentioned who'd been traveling as well, they were now moving back to Bangkok. And it was kind of like the idea that we'd all move in together and get our own place. So we all ended up moving in together in Bangkok, which was one of the best 3-4 months I had in Thailand. Absolutely loved it. But I'm in a massive hole. And then I think basically my deal with D7 comes to an end, and I'm still kind of in makeup. And then we kind of had to discuss like, how are we going to deal with this? And it was tough for me because obviously I was getting defensive, like, well, you weren't around when I needed your help, and like when I'm downswinging, blah, 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 but I don't really want to pay because like in theory I should have been like buying out of the makeup, or at least paying half of the makeup. Eventually this is what I do, or I get a small discount on that because of the complaints that I had. But we did resolve this, but that was a small issue at the time. But that was more on me and my immaturity and me going, well, I've got no money. But then not long after, but the thing is, I then started doing some coaching with some of my friends, and they were like, oh, Ginge, you changed how you play, like you used to do this. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. And then just things started to click back into flow again. And then I started playing on some apps. And this was back when like the apps were like relatively new. Like I guess everyone's on apps now, but like these were like semi-new. Wasn't completely new. I wasn't like the first wave or anything, but like there were still suspicions about how good or bad they were. But I was straight onto an app called Pokermaster, and I think I won like £30,000 like straight away, which was sick because I was staked, and I just took 15k, and I was like, great. And then dusted 100k back not long after that. And I was like, great, another hole. And then not long after that, or during that grind, this is when I ended up going to jail. So I'm living in Bangkok with my two friends, and another friend's girlfriend storms in, and he's like, where is he? Where is he? And we're just like, well, he's not here. And she's like kind of annoyed at us now because we're not like pandering to her and like trying to help her find her boyfriend who doesn't live here. They clearly had an argument, and she's assumed that he's like hidden at our place. So we're just like, yeah, you can look around, but nobody's here. And she's obviously super tilted. She leaves. One of my friends then leaves to go for a meal with his girlfriend, and then me and my other friend just carrying on grinding poker. Eventually we hear a knock at the door, which is kind of weird because like everyone that knows us just knows that we leave the door open when we're in there. So you'd expect anyone who knows us to walk in. So we're like, come in. Sorry, fly. Eventually the door knocks again, and then I stop what I'm doing. I go and answer the door, and I just see the condo owner with like 4 policemen. And I'm just like, hello? And they're like, oh, we're here to investigate a disturbance. And this girl that had kind of stormed in before, she's quite screechy, and I was like, well, that would make sense. Maybe she's just like screamed her mouth off in the corridor down the phone of her boyfriend, and like someone in the corridor has like filed a complaint or whatever it is. So yeah, come in, like, no, I got nothing to hide, like there's nobody here. But what actually happened, long story short, is the girl had then reported us because she's pissed at us and said they were having a drugs party, and my friend smokes weed. So the police come in, obviously, because I've invited them, and I'm an idiot for doing that, clearly. And they're just going straight into the drawers, and they're just searching everywhere. Eventually find my friend's small bag of weed, and they're like, whoa. And then all of a sudden there's like 11 police officers, and we're just like, oh my God, what the hell are we gonna do here? And if you wanna hear more about the story, I'll tell it, but it was a pretty grueling experience. But I don't want to go into it too much in this vlog because it's more about poker. But eventually this all sorted itself out. I was in jail for like 2 nights, then I had to do this like 3-month go back and forth from the court to eventually get to the jail date where they fine me a small amount of money, fly back home to England. And this is where things kind of are a bit like mentally take a turn for me, because I go from like living my best life in Thailand with basically like, I don't have loads of money, but I feel like I do because I don't need that much money to live like a king in Thailand, to going back home to England where I didn't quite want to be. All my friends had like moved to London or were doing their own things and made their own lives, obviously, because I wasn't there for for a long time. So why would they like not make their own plans? And the two friends that I did with in Bangkok, because this jail thing had caused like a rift. So I was just like, didn't really have those as friends either. So I was just mentally in like in a reasonably bad place. And that's when I first tried LSD. And that was probably, I'm not saying that LSD was the answer, but LSD was really helpful for me at the time because it really opened my mind to like how things are. I'll do another video on my experiences with psychedelics if that's what people are interested in. Not long after that, one of my friend of friends wanted to go to Thailand and hadn't been before and wanted to go with someone that'd been before and was interested in getting like a villa for like a month, say, and learning poker a bit more from me maybe, and grinding poker and going out. And that's what we did. So we went to Pattaya, me and my friend Jason, who's one of my best friends now, grinded poker for a while, had a great time, it was fantastic. Then we ended up going traveling for a bit afterwards. A few people met us. They ended up getting a house. They didn't want to leave. Then we ended up getting another house. That's when I started doing BRS, which is when I was coaching other people poker and like taking a small piece of their winnings. Not a lot because the BRS company itself had to make a lot of money as well. And in that period of just putting my head down and grinding, I went from like a £7,000 net worth to about a £35,000 net worth, which was kind of steady and comfortable all the way through. After that, we hired another coach for sort of like, for trying to get even further in poker, like beyond 200 and try and get into 500 soon. And I hired a guy called Crybaby, and he was a great coach for me. I'm not saying he'd be a great coach for everybody because he was very spiritual and very wanted you to solve your own problems, which in my opinion is the only way to get really far in poker. And a lot of people at the smaller stakes are looking for answers as opposed to coming up with their own ways of solving their own problems. But I can go into that more in another video. But that really helped me with some of my own breakthroughs. Not to say that I wouldn't have got there on my own, but he really helped me get there faster. Eventually start playing live poker in Asia, etc. And this was pretty high stakes now. Like this is like 6K NL, and I go there on the pretense that I'm gonna swap with two other guys, and goes reasonably well at the start. So we plan to do another trip, going to play live poker, and then eventually the next time we go back, the swap kind of starts to break down. Like I'm kind of crushing, and those two are like breaking even / losing, and that's like bringing everybody down. And like I think they're playing badly, they don't think they're playing badly, they're blaming variance. Like the backers are like, no, it's definitely variance, and then they were like, it was super complicated and whatever. Doesn't matter. Like that happens for like 2 months, and I'm just tilted at the whole situation because I think like, because I'm still in like a big hole from apps that I'm trying to get out of, so I'm buying some of my own action and like trying to get out of this hole. And this playing 6K live is like a really good spot for me to do that. So when I'm doing that, I've cleared my makeup, but I'm still in makeup because the swaps are just burning me, and I don't think the swaps are playing very well. This wasn't a really good environment at all, really. So I ended up leaving where I was playing the live games, going back to Thailand and be like, fuck this, like I'm not playing. Like if you guys can't see that, in my opinion, I'm playing better and I deserve to not have to do this swap, then I'm just not going to play for you. And that worked out great because then my backer was like, all right, please go back and you don't have to swap. And I was like, okay, fine. So not long afterwards, I went back, and I was now a little bit better net worth because I bought a piece of my own action, not off the swap action. So I think my net worth now is probably close to like 60K, just slowly grinding up. And then I bought a piece of a guy in a tournament who ended up coming like second for like 100K, and I had like 25% of that. So now I'm up to like 80, 90K. Then I ended up using a bunch of that to like take my mom and dad away on holiday again. And we go around like Cambodia and like travel around with a few friends. And then I'm back in Thailand again, living with some other guys. I start staking a guy who left his job in the police. That's Morris. If you guys do follow along my vlogs, you know who that is. And then eventually go back to Asia to play in these high stakes games. And I'm still in like a 100K hole, but I'm ready to deal with this now. This is just before Vegas 2019, and the games were just terrible because all the fish are in Vegas, and like the games are just horrendous, just full of regs. So I ended up like last minute deciding to go to Vegas, get off the plane and jump in the 5K 6 max. Ended up coming like 16th for like 31K. And then bust the main event. So won like 21K in tournaments, played in some high stakes cash in Vegas for the first time ever. I felt like I played really good. And I won a bunch of money, ran bad in a spot versus Art Papazian, where I got it all in. I say ran bad. I got it all in Jack 8 on 10-7-6, 10-7-9, so I was straight, and he had 8-6, so the bottom straight, and we run it twice, like 100K pot, and he chops the second run out, which is like brutal because like you go from like, whatever, like big pot that would have cleared my makeup, and then ended up getting it all in Bobby's room in like a huge pot, like Queen 10 deuce, and I have Queen 10 versus 10 deuce for like, this is probably an 80K pot, and I lose this one, the river deuce, and I was just like, that one really floored me. But I was like, nah, I can do this. I can mix with these guys. Like, I'm getting better and better at poker. Like, I'm grinding 200 and 500. Like, I felt like I was crushing 200. 500 I was a bit close with on stars. Ended up going back to Asia grinding. But now really things kick into gear, and I just make 200K a month on average for the next like 3 out of 4 months. So I make like 200K, clear my makeup, make some small money, then make 200K. So I make a big chunk for myself. Then I'm buying more of my own action. Then end up taking like a month off because I just want to enjoy it, because now I've got like, go from like an 80, 90K net worth to like 200K net worth, and I'm like, whoa, like, what do I do? Like, I've never had this much money before, like, this is crazy. Ended up having a good time in Pattaya, like just trying to, I couldn't spend it fast enough. Like, I was like, I think I dusted like 2,000 pounds, and I'm like, this is insane, how am I spending this money? And I'm just like, it just doesn't touch the sides, because like I'd made so much. Go back, have another 200K a month, have another 130K a month, have another 160K a month, and like, don't get me wrong, I'm running really well. I feel like I'm playing even better than I had before, because everything was clicking into place. And yeah, that's pretty much how I built my bankroll, just absolutely running incredibly. I felt like I played well, and that's pretty close to where we are now. Went to the Aussie Millions in January, dusted in tournaments, didn't really play cash because it's quite hard to move around like high stakes money in cash. I don't really have like the wherewithal to do it, because most of my money was going to be in Hong Kong dollars, and it's hard to like put that into a bank to then take it to Australia, blah blah blah. You know, I'm not exactly going to take like 100K in cash on a plane. Then after Aussie Millions, go back to Thailand, thinking about going back to Asia to play poker, but was taking a bit of a break in Thailand. But then that's when COVID hit, and I've now moved to Samui, where I'm chilling out in this villa, and that's when I started streaming. So that's where we're at now. Any questions, let me know. I'll go into some more detail of some of the key things in another video, but that's it from me. This is my first vlog. This is where I'm at now. If you want to follow my journey, I'm going to be streaming on my 500 Zoom, and I have been so far on Twitch. I'll put all the links in the description below. If you want to see more, please like and subscribe, and thank you very much for watching the video.